and gentlemen, this is the final stage presentation here for the PlayStation Access stage at EGX. There's only one way you can really end a show like this. It's with an incredibly anticipated game. This is only the second time in the world it's ever been shown on PlayStation 4. The first time was yesterday. And it's Yooka Laylee. Now, if any of you have ever played a game called Banjo-Kazooie and you loved it, then you need to know about this game. Was that all right? Did that work?
That sounds great, yeah.
Did I hype?
I think that's a good start.
You know, right, I mean, do you want to play?
Yeah, I mean, it's great to be here for three reasons, really. One is it's always great to be on PlayStation Access. Second one is we just announced something a couple of hours ago, and we can talk about that in a bit.
Yes.
And then the third reason is I get to sit down after 2 days of standing
Woo!
up.
Sitting down!
So,
by like 11 a.m. yesterday, over 100 people had played Yooka Laylee, wasn't it, just in that first hour? That's insane.
That was incredible. And it's just been back-to-back since then. When we've had 20 stations, there's been a time limit on it, but we couldn't ram any more people through. We kind of pushed them all through, as many as we could. We could have had, I think, 50 stations.
And you still wouldn't have, you wouldn't have wiped them through.
Still, it felt like the entire population of Birmingham was descended upon us. Yeah, it's been crazy.
This game makes me happy, so I couldn't think of a better way to sort of finish. Now, let's talk about what happened at 4 o'clock. You guys had a bit of a conference, really.
That's right.
What did you announce?
Well, what we said was there's some friends of ours at Yacht Club, and we wanted to have a guest character in the game. So we talked to Yacht Club, sent to our friends at Team 17, and then we had some suggestions, and lo and behold, in Yooka Laylee there's going to be a guest appearance by Shovel Knight.
Oh, amazing.
So he's going to be a guest character. He will be appearing. So we showed that on our little trailer video that should be online. And it's just a great little fun thing we can do as another indie studio. So we contacted them. It's great just to be able to call them up, talk to them. And then the other thing we did was, they've obviously built the model for us, and also in terms of the sounds, the gobbledygook noises that they make. We talked to them. We talked them through the process of making those noises and said, this is how you make them. So we had to get a little session with them. And then they went away and then came back with some sounds. And then we fed them into our system. And then, so it's all authentic. They built the model. They've done the sounds. So it's generally, genuinely Yacht Club's product. So, yeah.
Congratulations. Shall we get started? Shall we take Yooka and Laylee on a bit of a trip?
That's right. So start off with there's a bunch of. We're going to have a dip down here at some of the secret areas. So where you started, a lot of people at EGX, when they played the build, they might have missed this. You can actually come down from the start, and there's a kind of hidden area down here where there's one of the ghost writers, and the ghost writer here is called Heidi. Norm. So this one, it's been a long 2 days.
It's been a long 4 days.
4 days. I've lost count.
Where am I?
All I know is I'm sitting in a sofa, and I'll probably just be sitting here
till
till the end.
Shall I just leave you here and we'll just take you
leave
when we pack up?
You'll be packed up. I'll still be here. So that's Norm. He's hidden way down there. He's the easy one to collect because you just find him lying around somewhere. So up here we're going to have a look at some of the moves that Yooka and Laylee got. So they've got a roll move there where Laylee will roll on top of Yooka, and that's used for getting up those slopes. So you need that to get your way up here. And
love those little quills, they're so pretty.
There's an attack move we got where we can knock these little minion characters out. Take this out there, and then when the butterfly appears, the player's got a choice. They can either choose to walk into the butterfly, which will use their update their power meter. The power meter is used to mean that they can roll in that ball move for longer, and it's also used to power a lot of the other special moves. Or they can choose to eat the butterfly. If they eat the butterfly, they can regain some of their energy bar back.
Right.
So it's almost like at each encounter with enemies, they've got a choice to make as to which one they go for. What we're doing here, we're going up to here, we've encountered this character here, Gesture. This is another ghost writer.
Right.
And as you can see, this one's gesturing for, it wants something, probably it's a bit hungry perhaps. What Hamish will do here is he'll spot that there's something down here maybe that could feed that character, and he'll eat one of these ice projectiles. So he's going to go back up now, and he's going to see if feeding that will give the Ghost Rider what he needs.
By eating that flower, we've now got ice powers.
Yeah, he can fire those for a limited amount of time. The Ghost Rider is very happy with that, so now he can collect them. So then, as you'll see at the bottom of the screen in a second, that shows you that you collected 2 of the Ghost Riders. There's 5 to collect in each world. Now
this is all explorable, what we're seeing here, right?
That's right,
You're not just showing it off because it's a pretty background.
Yeah, it's not just a texture in the background. You can go to all those areas, and we'll be going up to some of those shortly. Yeah, so we tried to make it so that the world is open and you can explore it in any fashion you wish. So that's one of the key things. We want player choice, players to feel like they are in an open world, and it's not just a linear experience. So I think back in the day when we were building games in the 90s, it was more linear. So I think we've kind of tried to delinearize. I don't know if that's even a word.
We can make words up. We can do what we want on
invented a new word there. Delinearizing the gameplay.
Now the worlds aren't just what they seem when you unlock them, right? Because you can actually expand the worlds of Yooka Laylee as well.
So again, in the aim of the kind of term of player choice, what we wanted to do is make it so that you don't have to do everything in a world before you can move on to the next one.
Right,
so that's good. You know, some people just want to go, I want to see new stuff, So you can obviously you have to do some things, but there's a certain number of pages you can collect, and then you'll be able to move on to the next world and so forth. But even once you've collected everything in one world, you might then move on to the next, or what you might choose to do is if you've got enough pages, you might say, hey, well, actually, I really like this world, so I want to do even more. So you can expand that world further, and that adds extra sections onto the world. So there's areas that are kind of suggested at when it's in its unexpanded state, and once you've got enough pages, those will kind of open up to reveal. For example, this monument area here, when you first encounter it, is kind of hidden away. There's a suggestion there's something there. Once you've expanded the world, you can see it just appears, yeah.
And you can just go there.
You can just go there, yeah. So we've expanded it here for this purposes of this demo here today, because it just looks cool, and it's nice to go. It's cool to go up tall places, isn't it? What we're going to do here is there's a collectible we're picking up here called it's a molecule, and molecule is a very scientific collectible, and it's used to power the transformations in the game. And so Hamish is now going to go down and visit the character that's going to make you transform, and that's Dr. Puzz. Now, Dr. Puzz is a character who's she's done a bunch of experiments. Some of them haven't worked out because she's done them on herself, as you can see. It didn't quite go as planned. So, you know, Yooka Laylee don't entirely trust her. What would she transform them into? They give her the molecule token, and then she says, yeah, step inside the ray, and then they'll be transformed into something interesting. And usually it's relevant to the world. Sometimes it's a bit wacky and out there.
Now, for anyone looking at this and they're like, oh, there was transformations in Banjo-Kazooie, there's a pretty strong link there, right? Because the same designer.
Right, yeah. I think it was something that people would expect if you read a checklist of games that we've made from the past. You go, oh, I'd expect to see these things in there. And so, yeah, it was definitely something we wanted to put in. And it's often choosing something that fits the world is good, but also something that's a bit wacky is also quite good. So we try and combine both of those aspects.
I love that we can see Yooka and Laylee's personalities in this conversation. It's a perfect example of the, sassy and like
That's right, yeah. Yooka's more of a calm kind of guy, and Laylee's kind of more hyper, overexcited, and
I love it when you start doing
those kind of noises. So we're now going to go and we're going to transform. Dr. Puzz is going to power up the ray, and then we transform into a plant. Who would have thought? So what we find there's plants that previously in the world, if you talk to them, they would say, oh, I'm not interested in speaking to you because you're a chameleon and a bat. So in this case, now you're transformed, you can go back to them and actually get some information out of them. And they basically say they've got a challenge for you, something that they want to, some things they want you to do. So in this case, they're going to suggest that there's some smaller plants that are around the level that need pollinating, and you're the kind of character that can be able to do this pollination now. So each of these characters you'll see in the world has their own set of controls, their own, their own way of handling them. And
the
so
goggly eyes on everything. It's so you guys. I love it. Everything's got googly. I'd like to think there's just googly eyes everywhere.
That's
in your
right,
office.
yeah.
Just stuck to every surface is a googly eye.
We've got them in the office as well. They stick them to chairs and everything, yeah. They just go everywhere. In fact, wouldn't surprise if we might have left any lying around here.
You like go into your wallet to get money out. You
That's
haven't
right,
got any money,
just
but
pours
you've got
out googly eyes, yeah. Unfortunately, they're not generally accepted as currency in this country yet.
Yeah, they're funny, but they're not going to get you anything.
That's right. So I think I'm going to
head off before
we're
we
not going to do
the
the completeness and spoil it for everyone. So we're going to transform back now to Yooka Laylee and then venture on to another area.
You guys, there's lots of puns. I've noticed you guys love your puns.
That's right. There's Gavin, who's our managing director. He sits in the office all day and he's just typing away, and then suddenly he'll just spout out all these puns, and it's like it's endless. Him and he sits next to Dean, who's our environment artist, and between them they're always trying to find the best pun. Not even to go in the game, just generally to wind us all up. So it's an endless stream of things, and these often will find their way into the game.
Because I'm right in thinking that Yooka and Laylee's home is Batship Creek.
That's right.
That was really difficult to say when I'm tired on a Friday. I had to really think about that.
You have to be very careful when you say that, yeah.
And we've got Trouser as well, right?
Trouser is a serpent.
You're like, serpent. He's a serpent.
Serpent. What Trouser is, he's like a used car salesman, but he deals, rather than dealing in cars, he deals in moves. So he will enable the player with different moves. Like he gives you the ball roll move here, the reptile roll, and he will also give you other moves later on. Each world you go to, he'll give you a free move.
Yep.
But they know, as with any salesman, there's got to be a deal to make. So yes, he'll give you those, but then he'll charge you for the other moves that come on. But the great thing is, if you've got the right number of quills, you can unlock those in the order that you want. So you might say, again, it's a player choice thing. It's like, I want to actually have this move and see how that benefits me.
I tend to find, because I like to move quickly, so I tend to always go for like what used to be the Italian trot, but the rolling move, just so I can maneuver faster throughout the world.
Yeah. So I think it's, again, a way that players will be able to...
The
there
serpent.
He is. There he is. So in this one, we've now gone up to here. So there's another character we got here called Kartos.
Now, you were making this. Last time I came to visit you, he wasn't really fully animated. Like, I can't begin to describe how much this game is coming on. So we came to see you guys about 4 months ago. It was still summer when we came to see you. And I just cannot get over
There's been a lot of stuff we put in,
The quills weren't animated. They were still, I think, 2D when I came to visit you. That's how far we've come.
Yeah, so this character, we've added him since you've been in. He is called the God of Ore, because he's a minecart.
You can have that one. That's a good one. Yeah, we'll let that one go.
We'll steal that one. Kartos, we're talking to Kartos here. If we've got sufficient things for him, we can go in. He'll take us in a journey, and we'll see that in a second. He's going to ask us whether he wants to see the controls, I think. I know, we're going to go straight into it. Just like the old days.
I can't get over.
You can't have a platform game that harks back to that era without having a minecart section.
Yeah.
So each world has its own minecart section that's built in. And rather than it being a separate level, we wanted it to be integrated into the experience. So it actually, as you'll see here, it actually takes you all the way around the level. So, and that varies on each level. So it's kind of like it is literally a roller coaster ride, and they kind of tour around areas of the level that you might not see. So as you go around, you might spot things and go, hang on, there's a secret there. How do I get around to that? So that's been another key thing that we tried to put in, so that in going here, you've got to not just play the game, but also spot things that might be clues for later on.
I love that you guys are not scared to embrace that era of gaming, like the 90s gaming. Yooka Laylee, it stands on its own 2 feet, but it's still okay to talk about the 90s, about Banjo, about Donkey Kong, because that's where all of you guys came from. but you've not been scared to be like, we love this stuff.
That's
and we're
right,
going to put
yeah.
this in the game, but we're going to make it feel fresh and modern.
Yeah.
And you just have to trust us.
I think it's a set of things that people expect to see if we're going to, you know, kind of hark back to those games and kind of bring them forward. But so you've got to bring new things, but you've also got to kind of at least respect the old things that people loved.
I mean, that's who you guys are.
Yeah.
I mean, when the Kickstarter launched, it was just, we had this chat yesterday, but people were donating before you had even seen the link.
That's right, yes, that's right. Andy was in London, he'd set it going, and when Kickstarter page goes, when you say go, then it then creates the link. So he pasted that into a message to me. I then pasted it into the browser, and then there was numbers already going up, and I was saying that can't be right because we've only just started. It must be a 0. So we must be something wrong. We need to go back and reset it.
No.
Just as well we didn't, actually.
People really believe in you, and they really believe in Yooka Laylee as well, which is, it's so nice to see. And I bring it up all the time when I see these games. UK Resistance is a really old gaming website. It sadly closed a while ago now. But one of their big things was the campaign for blue skies in gaming, and it was around a time where lots of games were very brown and very grey, and they wanted to see more colour, and I always reference it because games like Yooka Laylee are the epitome
That's right, yeah.
of that.
And so I think we'll be able to see here, there's definitely a lot of blue sky in this level. So hopefully we've satisfied the blue sky gamers in this section anyway.
It's so pretty.
So we're just working our way up that monument that we saw earlier, and it was off in the distance, and we kind of panned up to it, and we thought, oh, that surely you can't get up there. That we are now working our way up to the top.
And this is just one world as well, isn't it?
This is just one world, yeah. And in fact, in the build that we've got here at EGX, we actually took some things out just because we didn't want extra spoilers. So there's probably about half things that we actually removed from the level.
Are you serious?
So just because we thought we don't want to spoil the fun. You know, you don't want people to say, I feel I've seen it all. So
that's incredible. So this is not actually all of it. What we're seeing.
It's kind of more.
That's crazy.
It will look like this, but there'll be, as you wander around, there'll be more encounters with different things, different challenges, different baddies.
Can you hear that? Like how, is that not just throwing you back to like Banjo days? It's amazing.
And so this character here, Nimbo, who is a cloud, you get to this area of the level, and he is basically trying. He's lost the ability to rain. He's really struggling to produce water. So he said, you know, there's various suggestions that Yooka Laylee give him to how to think about maybe running water, that kind of thing. But none of those seem to work. So they need to figure out how can they make Nimbo actually produce water and rain? Because this is a dried out riverbed here, and it would be great to have the water come in.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to look around, see if there's anything that we can pick up that would perhaps give them water. Maybe there's some water berries here, which are conveniently placed. So these might do the trick. So we're going to jump up here, and then we're going to spray some water onto him there. He's quite happy about that. So he's now releasing the water, and then you can see that it's filled up with water here. We're going to hit that switch as well, so to make sure that we're going to come back to there later. So that's what that's done now. There's a dried up riverbed that runs around the level, and then if you look, we go down here, that riverbed's now filled up with water. So it means it opens up areas and means we can do things that we couldn't do before.
So this is that plant challenge that we were at earlier?
Yeah, so that's the plant challenge where we were before.
Now the river's all full.
And what we're going to do now is the doorway that we opened here, we're going to go back up and talk to Nimbo again, because that's just one way that we've modified this world, and there's another way that we're going to do that in a second as well.
And the river runs right around the whole level here.
Yeah. So one of the challenges that wasn't in this build is where there's a character that will challenge you to a race. So you race round the riverbed, and again, an example of how we use the butterflies. The butterflies that you encounter on that way, you need to not only just race against this character, but because you've got a power meter that powers the ball roll move, we need to be able to pick up those butterflies so that you can.
Wow.
Oh no!
Wow.
It's ice now.
It's ice. So what we did there was activated the snow. So Nimbo snowed, then caused everything to turn to ice, and we're now on the slippy zone here, just slipping around.
So now it's really hard to control, I take
Yeah, now it's hard to control, yeah.
Not for you, you're a professional.
That's right, yeah.
Obviously.
We're seasoned pros, so Hamish will be able to navigate around here, no problem.
This is just so adorable.
So and each of when you attack these guys with the ball roll move, you'll just knock them down. When you attack them with that move, you can take them out. There's a way you can chain them together as well. So if you hit several of the minions in succession, there's Yooka and Laylee's animation change, and they do a kind of finishing move on them as well.
I say I can hear a collectible for sure.
That's right. So the other great thing is because these pages, they have a certain noise attached to them, so that as you wander around the level, that you can hear that noise. You know there's a challenge nearby to solve. There's a pagey around. Often they're just out in the open. Sometimes we put them in cages, so you get a pagey and a cagey.
Love it, pagey and a cagey.
So we're just doing a tour around this area now. We're not going to show you any of the specifics, but we'll show you that there's different areas here that you can explore. There's this mysterious zone here, and then there's one of the ghostwriters there who tries to hide away from you. So we've been very careful to try and bring back things that people love, like we were talking about the gobbledygook noises, and we've been, tried to recreate those in the same kind of fashion, make sure that we made the same kind of approach as before, because people like it to be authentic. So although they've got different sounds, they still have those noises, because I think having it if it was actual speech, then it takes away from the feeling of you kind of presented people with this is the character, whereas when we do the noises, I think it gives you a sense of the character and your brain fills in the rest. So we kind of like that. So we're working our way up to this top of this mountain now. This is where there will be there's a boss character that's at the top of here. He's not in this build, but we'll get to the top anyway. You'll see him. Again, we removed him just for to avoid any extra spoilerage.
I'm absolutely shocked considering how alive this world feels to be told that it's not full.
And
so
there's also so one of the minions down there that's just below has got because when we started the Kickstarter, a lot of people were saying to us, well, you've got characters, but Yooka's not wearing any pants. We thought it would be kind of interesting that if one of the minions, maybe he had actually stolen some pants. Maybe, I don't know whether they are Yooka's.
Maybe he stole Yooka's pants.
It could be Yooka's pants.
I mean, they're green.
You would have to play the game to find out. Because he's wearing the pants, he's more difficult to kill, because he's obviously, those pants absorb hits.
Yeah, like...
Logically, that would make sense.
Plus 10 to defense, right?
Yeah,
That's what pants give you.
You wouldn't normally wear a shield, but wearing trousers on your head, obviously.
It's just as good.
Yeah.
Very impressed by your control when rolling on the ice.
Thank you. It is still quite difficult with all the ice.
It is quite slippy, yeah.
That is really slippy. You're making it look easy, maybe that's the problem.
The other thing you have to manage is the energy running out up there.
Yeah.
So I used too much of it then and I ran out, so, that might be an example of in that race, you have to manage that while being on the, slipping around on the ice while racing this other character. So it's a more difficult challenge than the first race where you're just on the dry bed underneath.
That is amazing. Now, we saw it yesterday, there's also, you've got an arcade machine hidden in here, right? And it's got like 4-player co-op games in the world.
That's right. Each of the levels has its, in fact, each of the levels has its own arcade machine, and then there's also another 3 arcade machines. So there's 8 more arcade machines in total, and each one's got its own kind of game. You can see the machine here. We're not really yet revealing what those arcade games are, but also right from the start they're unlocked on the front end, so you can play those as a multiplayer game. So we know from those games in the past that we've made that people like to get around and huddle around the sofa and play those games on the same screen. So we wanted to bring that back as well. So each of those games is kind of hark back to coin-op games and arcade games from your past. So there'll be a kind of reminiscent of things that you will think back to and think, oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That is incredible. All right, guys, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think that's without me having you show me everything, which I'm pretty sure we're not allowed to do. That is not just it for our demo of Yooka Laylee. That is actually our final presentation and the end of 4 days worth of live streaming here at Eurogamer Expo.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming back, for opening yesterday's show, for closing today's show.
It's been great, yeah.
I can't thank you enough for bringing Yooka Laylee on PS4 to the stage. It looks incredible. Thank you so much. You may now rest.
Thank you. We will just sleep here.
They're tiny sofas, but you are more than welcome. You're quite a tall man. It might be uncomfortable. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for watching. That's the same for you guys at home. This is where I'd normally stay. Please stay tuned, but actually you're allowed to tune off now and you're allowed to relax. Guys, thank you so much for coming. People who are here, please, a big round of applause for Playtonic and for Yooka Laylee.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you very much.